do this, we do it my way. Quietly. Calmly. You got it?
Fine.
Hudson on the door. Watch our backs. Don't let any of these people get in. Rookie, on me.
Far Cry 5 is set in Hope County, a fictional slice of Montana, America, and fans of the series will instantly be able to see why this is appealing. America, ignoring its current political quagmire, is a stunningly pretty country, and Hope County is no exception. The environment is full of screenshots waiting to happen, covered as it is in picturesque forests and lakes with little cabins alongside them. America is also, let's say, eccentric in just the right way for the quirky nature of Far Cry's characterization to fit in quite well. Characters are as eccentric as ever, but with an American tint to them. The number of mullets in this game would trigger some kind of warning siren in real life, not to mention the alarming regularity with which flannel is visible. Some characters will demand your help in exchange for them not having already shot you when you ventured onto their property, while others will complain about Canadian immigrants coming into our country and spreading political correctness. The game stops short of any real commentary on the troubles of modern-day America beyond poking some fun at it, which is almost anticlimactic given the game's original pitch, but that may be welcome for those who actually just want to escape the ever-worsening state of politics in the world. There are a lot of other changes to the game as well. The level up and skill tree systems have been replaced entirely with a perk system, in which you earn perk points for completing challenges such as a certain number of kills from range or with a particular weapon, skinning a certain number of grizzly bears, or wingsuiting for a particular distance. You can then use these points to purchase perks that will give you new abilities, from carrying more ammo to unlocking your wingsuit and having more guns for hire to be able to fight alongside you. The difference here is that these perks can be unlocked in almost any order, with only a few having requirements beyond the price, and this allows you to more effectively tailor your character to your preferred style of play. So if you're a stealth fiend, then you'll want to be able to sprint without making much noise, whereas if you barrel into combat without giving much heed to caution, then you'll want to be stocking up on the additional health as much as possible. Another welcome change is that hunting animals is no longer required to upgrade your inventory and equipment. Instead, these upgrades are just perks that you can purchase, and no longer have multiple levels, so you only need to buy one perk before you can carry all of the rifle ammo that you're able to. You do get point perks from certain hunting accomplishments, but hunting animals mainly just gives you skins that you can sell at shops, which you will need to do as money isn't as easy to come by as it once was in the series. Specifically, all the little valuables that you could find in previous games just to sell for cash are gone, so your income depends almost entirely on completing missions and hunting or fishing. This means that you may take quite a bit longer to unlock that gun that you've had your eye on once it's available for you to purchase, because you keep spending all of your income on ammo for those mad suicide runs that you're intent on pulling off. Speaking of shops and other things that will chew through your income, there are now cars, planes, helicopters and boats to purchase, as well as guns and their attachments. The cars, boats and helicopters handle pretty much how you would expect them to, but we found that planes are a little bit floatier than we'd like, even though they do work well enough. Some planes and helicopters have got bombs and or rockets, but only 4 units of ammo for each, which must be refilled by paying $1,000 while you're flying. That's a lot of cash, but you can just fall back onto the machine guns with their regenerating ammo. Weapons and vehicles can also be bought with silver bars, which is a currency that is purchasable via microtransactions. It doesn't seem to be too intrusive and shouldn't impact your game progression, but the cynics would say that this is why cash is harder to come by in the game. Far Cry 5 comes with a whole family of unhinged lunatics this time around. Atrocities in this game are carried out by the cult members of Project Eden's Gate, or Peggies as they're known, and this is led by Joseph Seed, or the Father as he is called. He and his 3 siblings believe that the end of the world is coming, like many actual cults do, but this one is building bunkers and taking military control of an entire county. The siblings, John, Jacob and Faith, are Joseph's heralds, and they have each been given roughly a third of Hope County to maintain in their own uniquely disturbing way. These characters are all very well written and performed. John is a violent, twisted psychopath, whereas Jacob is a war vet who dabbles in brainwashing, and Faith has a rather heavy reliance on a drug called Bliss, which the cult has been growing and using to brainwash, control and murder people in the county. This bliss is a welcome excuse for all of the bosses to have abilities that just make more fun than sense, like disappearing or being able to float, allowing the bosses to be inventive without having to resort to quick-time events. They are fun to fight, each in a way that makes sense for their character and fascinating to watch. Each of them is distinct, from John's emotionless stare to Jacob's drawling accent, and Faith's bliss causing hallucinations of her appearance out of thin air while you're exploring. And it also leads to animals that will turn into others when you shoot them. A placid moose turning into an angry bear is always a nice surprise. Liberating the county from these cultists is done by blowing things up and shooting things, with everything from completing missions to rescuing civilians from roadside slaughter helping to build the resistance meter in that region. There's no more trademarked Ubisoft towers to climb, but talking to people can add objectives, signs that you pass tell you where wildlife lives, and so on. There's no prescribed order to any of this, and building the resistance triggers certain game events and sends more cultists into a region in order to fight back against you. As ever, you are given guns, bows, and explosives to take out objectives however you prefer. From the beginning, your character has access to molotovs, remote explosives, and all manner of other toys, though there is no real explanation for why you're so familiar with crafting them right from the off. You can sneak through a camp hitting people with baseball bats if that's what you prefer. You can fly over in a plane and drop bombs, or snipe from a distance while you send in some guns for hire. Guns for hire are basically AI buddies, and these can be some of the many randomized civilians that offer up some generic help depending on what kind of weapon they've got, or you can unlock particular specialists by completing their respective story missions. Your help can be anything from a grizzly bear named Cheeseburger to Nick Wright and his plane that pull bombing runs for you, and both at the same time if you unlock the right perk. Replacing an AI buddy, you can also have a real-world friend to join you for online co-op, which naturally leads to even more excessive shenanigans. And best of all, you can do this all the way through the game, whether it's a story mission, exploring the world, side mission, or taking on the Clutchnicks and stunt trials. Really, the gameplay is where Far Cry 5 excels the most. It's equal parts fast and considered, depending on how you want to go about things, and although you occasionally end up being inexplicably swarmed by cars full of enemies on nondescript roads, the interaction between all of the systems in place results in all manner of delightful moments to enjoy. It's not perfect though, and as we played we did notice that there are a few small bugs to be found. NPCs are very sensitive to nearby enemies and unavailable to talk when in conflict, often resulting in frustration as you keep trying to talk to them and get a mission from them, but they're too distracted trying not to die, the selfish so-and-sos. We also experienced some pop-in issues on base PlayStation 4, with whole convoys materialising just down the road, and one mission objective that wouldn't materialise when I needed to bomb it from a plane. The latter cleared itself up, and the former is a minor lack of polish, and /or a limitation of the base PlayStation 4. Most bugs tend to just be amusing, such as when my plane for hire decided to take out another plane by flying directly into it, which I can only imagine wasn't intended behaviour, but was still pretty hilarious. And if you throw in a co-op buddy, it can seem to add extra bugs on top of this, mainly thanks to the latency involved in this. Overall, Far Cry 5 is another improvement to a series that hit its stride quite a long time ago. It gets a recommendation not because of any of its individual features, but because they all combine together into a game that becomes paradoxically funny and horrifying, occasionally managing to do so at the same time. It depicts a part of America lovingly, but with its tongue firmly glued to its cheek. But when I close my eyes, I still see Joseph Seed staring back at me. Thanks as ever for checking out our videos. We've got plenty more Far Cry 5 coverage from previews and in the run-up to launch on this channel. You can also head over to thesixthaxis.com for more of this and tons of other gaming news, reviews, previews, and everything else. Before you go though, please do like, subscribe and share, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!